It's 7 o'clock. I'll call this meeting to order in the Community Housing Board. We have minutes here. You guys all have seen the email?
Ran,
Okay.
I have something regarding the minutes.
All right, what is it?
In number 5, it says member master will begin drafting the 3 major contracts. I am not drafting the contracts. I'm interacting with Miriam, who is drafting the contracts. So that needs to be modified.
Sure.
Got it.
We'll talk about all that tonight, so.
Yeah, I figured as much.
Anything else anyone sees they want to amend or edit? Can I get a motion to?
I move to,
Well, we'll move them, accept them as amended.
yes,
Yes.
to accept them as amended.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
great. All right, I'm going to share my screen here. It's going to be exciting. See if it works.
Not too exciting.
Slideshow.
We're going to do a slideshow. Oh, and we'll see if this works. Okay, North Island Community Housing Board. We have 2 new members here. Oh, no, but now you guys can't see them. Oh, you still can see them.
Yeah.
Nadine Malay, is that how you say it?
Yep.
Okay. And Matthew McCarthy. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves and maybe say a little bit about why you joined the Housing Board?
Ladies first.
Thank you. I'm Nadine. I've been working in housing for about 2 decades now, affordable housing throughout the country, and some in development, some on the design side and construction side, and some on the system side. And I just really want to be a part of affordable housing for this community. So
Great.
Welcome.
happy to be here.
So I'm Matt. I grew up on the North Fork, and I've been here probably since I was late high school, senior year or so. And I started working at Vine Street very soon after that, and kind of stayed here, met my wife here. And I wanted to be here because I think that someone in my generation can offer a lot, especially in this position. So I am also very excited to be here.
Great.
Okay. Welcome as well.
Thank you.
Okay, so our ADU +1 update. The overview is, and I just want to do this because you guys are both new, and I think sharing this information every time will help us all get the word out about what these programs are and what they aren't. So some of this, we all know it's kind of review, but the ADU +1 program is a state program. It offers about $125,000 in grant funding for construction of an ADU. It supports the design, permitting, construction costs, and the household income. There's income limits to be able to qualify. As for homeowners on the island that are year-round residents, the leases have to be year-round as well. It's a 10-year program. Once the 10 years are up, the grant is forgiven. So these are the income guidelines for the program. These are the updated guidelines from CDLI for household size and the maximum annual income you have to be under to qualify for. Right now, we had a call. Peter was on the call with me 2 weeks ago-ish, and we talked to Casey and Dave Rosen from CDLI, and oh gosh, there's another guy who's now joining. People are switching around. Pat is moving on.
Casey, Pat.
Is it Bill, I think his name was? He's taking over for Pat.
Okay, yeah.
We have 4 ADUs totally complete. Some have already been rented out, some are about to be in that compliance stage. I think they're looking for tenants. And then the other sort of slots for applicants are in various stages. One is under construction, one has started design, 2 funds committed. I think that means they've signed the papers.
Yeah.
They've done the contract. And then we have 7 who are like approved for their grant, but they haven't fully signed yet. So, probably still figuring out design stuff, figuring out builders, bids, and all,
Summer and Browning, I think.
Right.
I think there's 2 in front of ZBA.
yes. And unfortunately, one person I spoke to follow up with, they dropped out. Just too much going on, and unfortunately, they can't do it at this time. So that means we do have a slot open. At least a slot, because we still kind of have a second round of the grant that may still be coming to us from the state. So applications are open. Brochures are in town hall. Out there, there's brochures for the CDLI program, and they're available on our Community Housing Board website and the CDLI website. If you want to point anyone to the application, first thing to do is you sign up for an interest form, you give them some basic information, they'll reach back out to you and, start talking about specifics and what you would need to apply. And all that information, they have a huge checklist of, what they need. It's all on the CDLI website. So that's ongoing and will be ongoing for the next couple of years.
For the 4 that are complete, what was their average turnaround time from approval to actually being complete?
When did we start this?
I'm the newest one here.
Yeah.
Well, not anymore.
I know.
Besides me.
No, I guess, I came
Well,
and
A
it hadn't
year?
even been
Yeah.
going yet.
Yeah, it was, we got the funding, and we technically got the funding 2 years ago, which I know sounds crazy.
Yeah.
But because the program was so new, you actually couldn't really get the application didn't become live until about a month, 6 months into that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You couldn't actually start it.
Yeah.
So I would say, those first ones, they probably took, I would say, a little bit over a year. But those folks at the very start of it were just, the CDLI and the state were overwhelmed by the response. So those first ones went much slower than applications are going now.
Understood.
But, and then the construction and everything,
Of course.
I feel like those guys, the early ones were A, exceptionally motivated, and B, had ways to overcome some of the hurdles that were put into their path there with getting septic and whatnot done. So I don't know how that looks for these upcoming.
yeah, actually, I asked Casey, because I hadn't been on a lot of the ADU calls yet. I asked Casey about the IA system
Yeah.
grants and if that was holding things up, and he didn't really think that was happening here. But I will
Yeah.
talk a little bit later about talking to the WQI, and one of our applicants is going before them for the grant.
Yeah.
I'm honestly surprised that if the funds were available 2 years ago, that 4 units are already, that's really pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the other thing to know, not to brag about us, But we did have, but to brag about us,
Humble brag.
we did
Humble
have
brag,
the
yeah.
first units up in New York State. So we're the definitely one of the furthest along of all the communities, which I think is very, so considering all the red tape that we came across.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just think we have a lot to be, we have a lot to, even though it feels slow, like Essen said, it's like.
Cool.
How much over do we, or I don't know if it matters, but like the 125K, did that cover everything or was, I'm assuming not?
Depends on people's projects.
Okay.
It really depends because some people are doing new construction where they're putting a lot of money into something that's maybe even bigger and, has to start from the ground up. And might take out a loan. And then some people are just doing a conversion of existing space where it might, that might take care of most of it. You actually get like 112,500 of cash going to contractors. And then a certain chunk of it is going to CDLI for their, work doing
For administration.
and compliance for the next, 10 years, so.
Got it. And so I was just curious if that had to do with like the 7 approved or the 2 funds committed. Is it because their scope of work is just larger, so it might take a little bit longer with a contractor or?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is just hand-holding, getting people through the process, building permits, architectural stuff. I mean, there's a lot of things they need to consider to.
And zoning as well, right? If they're not necessarily compliant.
Yeah, zoning is definitely one of the things that Casey said. We have a bunch of people who really wanted to do it, but are, in the near shore overlay, so they had to drop out. We've had a bunch of people who are interested but can't do it for various reasons. That being said, we do have this one, so we do have, sort of one more slot to fill in this first round, and then we're hoping we have another, 8 to 12 slots.
Yeah,
If-
we have another 1.5 million.
Yeah.
So I just always assume that everyone's gonna take the full amount.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So we'll probably do another push of
Yeah.
advertising and kind of maybe, an open house or something with this in early spring and try to, get those other slots filled.
Other sweet spots, I'm just thinking here, because contractors have low seasons as well, right? Where they're searching for work. I'm just kind of curious if there's like a timing sort of situation that we could take advantage of, in terms of helping to shepherd the process through and make it the most cost effective for the potential people to do projects
Yeah.
when the contractors are willing to basically do it at cost just to keep their crews busy, maybe.
That's a great.
Yeah.
That's something we could figure out when the best time is, and maybe then you do your open house in that window,
Yeah,
you know?
it's good. Yeah, this is a good idea. Great. Okay. Next item is our 114 rentals project with CDLI and partners, which we definitely need to come up with a snappier name for. But in the agenda item, this is the LOI update. So, like Bill said, well, the LOI is our letter of intent. I think right now the status of that is it's still a draft. It hasn't been signed.
It is still, so I can update you on that. So, we've been going back and forth with like engineers. And so we sent back our language. And then the executive director was on, I followed up with her, she was on vacation, so she's back like 2 days ago, so I'm gonna call her, 'cause I haven't heard, actually, I might like call and text her and just be like, what are we doing, like, let's get these lawyers together, it's like literally one section, like it's really close, it's really close.
Great. And then the next steps, which Bill and Espen and I were emailing about a little bit, are to do these, and this, I just took this from your email. So, you know, we got to move forward with this stuff with Miriam, and we have to schedule those calls, meetings. But we need to do these other agreements: master partnership agreement, project development agreement, ground lease and affordability covenant. You know, that'll be important determining what the, you know, what the demographic of the tenants that we're targeting.
Yeah.
You know, are we looking at 80% AMI? I mean, this is all has to do with their funding as well. So it's going to be a lot of back and forth with CDLI and partners.
Is there some background material on this that maybe both of us can read, or you might know, but I'm assuming you might need background. I don't know.
I would like some background.
Just to
Yeah,
get us up to speed.
yes, there is.
I can send a much deeper dive into where I summarize this, and it's really, there's basically 9 points of coverage that, in my opinion, we need to address, but they can be combined into various agreements and merged together, so to speak. And obviously Miriam can opine on what my thoughts are on this whole thing.
But
There's a lot of, go ahead.
Espen,
Yeah.
one thing I would suggest for them at this point would be, let's give them the response that we received to the RFQ. I think
Yeah.
that would be helpful.
Yeah, true.
In speaking with Miriam, who is at this point a little frustrated that the LOI hasn't been executed, but thinks, you know, it's thought it's been close a number of times. One of the things she is going to work on and is working on for us now is to put together an outline of the various issues that must be addressed. It would be an iterative document, so that, because we're going to have to opine back to her on some of those items. So there's going to be both those things that are very specific to these projects, and then there are some things that are going to probably be pages and pages and pages. I mean, indemnification clauses and how they're going to work here is going to be something that's you know, going to be difficult and is going to take, quite some time. And where these things belong. I would say that once she has an outline, and I'm going to prod her again, our subcommittee should start having some regular conversations with her. That there's a parallel path, since the letter of intent is taking longer than we originally anticipated.
Okay, and I agree that whatever framework that, I have my own personal framework, but whatever framework that we're going to discuss in the open should come from Miriam. I'm assuming she did you forward my thoughts?
I just got back today. I didn't forward it. While I was away, I didn't do anything on it. I got back today. I'm contacting her tomorrow, so I'm going to be giving her your stuff in addition to some other things.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, so can I just back up? We're deep in the weeds on where we're at with this, but just so you guys know, Nadine and Matt, we have, at some point last year, I can't remember the timeline, did an RFQ. We have 3 properties on the island that are town-owned, that are, you know, buildable. It's the 12 South Ferry, which is by the History Museum, the old Highway Department parking lot. 69 North Ferry, which is in between Marcello and IGA. There's another property in between there that's Teodoro. And then on 16 Manwaring, which is across from Sylvester Manor, and there's Those two are vacant. They're just woods, but they both abut preserved land. The idea here is that we are partnering with CDLI, who's also doing our ADU program and is a nonprofit development company. I just have to check.
Affordable housing, yeah.
And they have some partners that are gonna be actually building it. So yeah, we'll get you that whole package that they sent to us, and we kind of are still working on the agreement, but the idea is to do 10 units of rental housing, 6 on South Ferry, 2 2-bedroom units at each of the other properties, which are about an acre. And we're gonna, with them, we're gonna figure out what they look like, what the site plan is, what the timeline. And my next slide is like, what the other things we have to do with them are bigger once we get past all the legal stuff. But so
The non-binding legal LOI.
not legal, yeah. Figuring out, when and how they can build this stuff, what kind of funding they can get, and, how we can help.
Does the town have any like design standards or design protocols that they need to be meeting, or that it'll just be a review process?
Yes, this is
Is
it.
that,
We did have
That's us.
some
Yeah.
outreach earlier on with some ideas for what these things could look like. And through, sort of an iterative process, we sort of, or pared it down to what we've presented in the RFQ
Yeah.
originally. But then, we sort of had to take a step back and say, we just want things that meet these more broad standards. We'll work out the details of what it looks like later.
so there'll be a review process and a back and forth?
It's fluid. Not anything is necessarily mandated.
Yeah.
Let's say, because
Just so that everyone knows, there are some issues here related to Wick's law, which I will not be able to explain completely, but Miriam does understand Wick's law. And we have to kind of maneuver around in terms of design. And so that there didn't have to be multiple requests going out, and we were only able to issue the RFQ. So we have to be cognizant of Wick's law at all times regarding design here.
And in general, Wick's law,
Thank you, Ben.
yeah, basically, it's hard to summarize it, but basically,
Yeah, I know.
it limits the involvement of the town in the development of the project. If the more the town is involved, the more exposed you are to Wick's law, which would require prevailing wage. So,
And also potentially multiple requests to go out so that it wouldn't have to be, so it couldn't be completely coordinated through the CDLI and partners.
exactly.
Yeah.
but I think ultimately, at the end of the day, the intention is to provide high quality housing, right? I mean, it's that longevity and durability and isn't something that's going to require tremendous amounts of maintenance within 10 years
And there's building codes.
of course, energy codes, all of these,
And there was a certain checklist that we had in our RFQ that they responded to. So,
Okay, we'll look at that. Okay.
I don't want to open up a brand new can of worms, but I'm gonna. Because you and I talked about the potential of bringing in houses or properties, whether through the donations or purchases or whatnot.
yes, this is a
And,
whole other-
yes, it is.
And so, it's a very real potential because there are a lot of elderly folk who have properties on the island who, they bequeath them to the Nature Conservancy or some other kind of land trust, but why not the town for housing and whatnot? right now, it doesn't seem like the town has any mechanism to receive these properties outside of just bulldozing them and using them as parkland or whatnot, and, you know, maybe not even that. But it seems like it would be great to have some way for our agreement with CDLI to cover or to be able to factor in new properties that weren't built by them or under this. Yes.
Okay, so I think it could, not as part of this project, but I wonder if you write that management agreement so that it could be expanded
Okay, that's what I'm
to
asking.
cover
Yeah.
the management, if you were able to like move, you know what I mean?
Bring other
Like,
properties in.
that's how I would think about it, is make that able to flex up, because I can't imagine that the town has no bandwidth to be managing properties. And if they're already managing 10 properties, if you were able to incrementally add more on,
Yeah.
it's just like one more place for them to go and
Be-
deal with.
Actually, even be
If- if-
better for them.
Yeah.
It could be baked into, a master services agreement could very easily be built to say, on the table today are these properties,
Yeah,
and then we can introduce new properties and definitions of that property and its use and intent. And just keep daisy chaining off of a master services agreement, but the master services agreement would then need to be
yeah,
able to absorb that and keep everything tidy, because,
yeah.
Yeah, I like the direction this conversation's going, and to further take it off course. I was going to throw this out towards the end of the meeting, but as you all know, the town has moved to purchase at a foreclosure auction 2 School Street. It was an opportunity we had to act on quickly. There wasn't a solid plan on what to do with it, other than the fact that we don't really own any land in our own town. But what I wanted to charge this committee with is to sit down and brainstorm and consider taking on that piece of property from the town, that the Community Housing Board should purchase it because it is still in contract. We have not purchased it from the foreclosure yet, but it's coming soon. And not only does CHP have money in the bank, but there have been a number of large transactions in the last month or two that are going to further feather your bed. So this may be a good opportunity for the CHB to give the town board some feedback on you buying 2 School Street instead of the town.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
saving the taxpayers the
Well,
whole
I have
bonding
reservations.
issue.
I absolutely hear what you're saying, Ben. I think that one thing I would urge the community housing board to keep in mind, though, is making sure that, I'm sure you have the latest financial report, but until you're further along with the 10 units that you're committed to, you may need some of that cash for that.
Yeah.
And that is already pre-commit, I think you need to make sure that you're able to take care of that first.
Yeah.
I think that this property needs to be put aside for the time being, and we can discuss it with CDLI, but none of the other properties have a land basis on top of which to build, right? The cost, the money that we're spending is purely to cover the cost of the construction and getting this place occupied. This one has I think it's a $791,000 land basis.
Yeah.
And that skews the math. So we can only build so many units on this. It's going to cost X amount of dollars to build them on top of that land basis, unless it's a sunk cost, right? And the town's just simply saying, we're just giving you this land for
But
free.
I think that's what Ben's saying is that I agree with Ben. I think that there could be some future use for it,
Absolutely.
but I think it may be premature. My thought would be is make sure that you're considering the project that you have at hand. And then I would also just urge everyone to be guided by the housing
The housing
plan,
plan,
which
yeah.
directs this board for the next,
Yeah.
what is it, 1.5 years, until the community gives a new direction.
And I think also another discussion would be, it's on Smith Street, which is a residential corridor, but it's also on School Street,
Yeah.
which is sort of at the end of a commercial corridor. What is that land going to be? Because there's been mention of using it as a facility.
Yeah.
It's on a residential corridor, and that might not be an appropriate use for that location.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of stuff to iron out here above and beyond the land basis and how the math works out. And I just feel like that's going to, we have a very clearly defined
I absolutely
path
agree
forward
you.
with what we have now.
I absolutely agree with you. And I think the town has some work to do onto what is the right use. And, I think that we can collaborate with the community housing board, if there's an opportunity that you guys see or, very partial, but.
A pharmacy or.
Well,
Hello, folks.
what
Can
I'm looking for is
can I
some
chime in
feedback.
for a minute?
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Bill.
Because I think there's multiple things going on here, and I do want to talk a minute about process. First and foremost, just in the general thing that was raised before School Street. I had spoken to Miriam that there is a possibility in the future for further management, and that will be, that will be addressed in the agreement, and then there can be subsequent addendums to the management agreement specific to anything that is added in the future. That's pretty easy from the perspective of just a concept. How it will be written is a different issue. Secondly, but very important from a process perspective, for School Street and anywhere else, we do not have authority. We have limited authority that was granted in terms of the RFQ. Anything that would have to happen with other property, it has to be done by the town board. We can review, we can make recommendations, we can discuss things, but the town board is the ultimate authority that needs to act, and any agreement would be with the town board as one of the signatories to whatever is occurring, even if it is utilizing funds that come in through the community housing board. So I think it's important for us to keep that in mind. We can't make a decision in and of ourselves to say, hey, yeah, we want to buy School Street and do School Street. The town board has to act on that.
Yeah.
So
Thank you, Bill.
uh,
I appreciate that,
pardon
because
me?
if I would have said it, it would have gone down differently.
I think,
remember, I'm a governance guy. I know how to do this stuff. I don't know
Basically,
how to
the
write
town
those
board
other
holds the purse
agreements.
strings. No, the town board holds the purse strings, but obviously you guys are housing advisory board. The reason I
Yeah.
brought this up was to get you guys thinking about it and to get
Yep.
some feedback. You know,
I think we're thinking about it. I think it's exciting that it's a possibility, and that there are, there might be other properties or, buildings acquired in the future. Liz already said it, but I think looking back at our housing plan, we basically had 2 points to work towards. One is this rental project, and 2 is ADUs, sort of our 5-year plan. So I think because we thought, we weren't thinking of acquiring things yet. We are hoping our balance in our fund builds. It would take away a lot of our fund just to buy that property
Absolutely.
right now. So I think we should think about it a lot more. And if we can, just kind of sit on it. I know some people are outraged that the town bought something, but I think it's great to leap on the opportunity and, put it into our portfolio.
There's a best and highest use for,
Yeah.
best and highest use for the property. It may just not fall into what we're doing because of
Yet.
cost basis.
Yeah.
Not yet. And it could play in any number of ways. But, and again, I think like the financial models, which I've spoken about
Yeah.
before, build it all in numbers first and see how this stuff works. And we can do that with CDLI, because if it doesn't work on paper, it doesn't work. Like you just keep modeling and modeling and modeling until everybody can agree. It's that purchase price that really throws those numbers off. And that's why I'm saying this, let's bifurcate that for now and see if we can't find a way to guide it back into this in the future. But that's very much an outlier at this point.
I
And
think that's wise.
I'm just asking the CHB to approach us with an open mind
absolutely, absolutely.
and see how, and I mean, who knows what ideas we can come up with.
Yeah. Okay, bring it back to 114 rentals. What we have coming up is a county call, which we tried to have a few weeks ago, but it sort of fell apart. So hopefully that'll happen. We'll talk to the county about funding with CDLI. Liz and Ben, I think you guys are on that.
I am just warning, that day is my 65th birthday.
Happy
Oh,
birthday to you.
So I can't tell you I'll be there, but
no worries. We
I was on
will.
the last one.
And then these are just things I think we all need to think about. Obviously, with the CDLI is sort of our eligibility, the timeline, the site planning and architectural design, and construction timeline. Like, these are all the big questions once we get past some of the legal stuff.
And I have, for the affordable, I've got one question is, insofar as, obviously, Community Housing Board dealing with housing, are we purely fenced into just, I really can't call it affordable housing, workforce housing, or community housing, or does it extend beyond that to the services that
Well,
as well?
fun fact,
Mhm.
one of the things that I know we had talked about, and I think Meg brought it up last time, was actually that your mission statement needs a little refresh.
Yes,
So
TBA.
that might be part of,
I'm,
you
I'm,
know,
I'm just thinking of, because there's a lot of mention of seniors here, right, that are having difficulties, and then bringing School Street in, and then I'm thinking, senior center, senior facility, or a place that can
Yeah.
service people that are having difficulties. You know what I mean? Like something perhaps outside of our framework, but can still fall
Yeah.
within it.
I mean, I think.
And support the
I think
community.
that's I think that's a super interesting idea, and we talked about that the mission statement of Community Housing Board needs to be refreshed, and if that's something that you guys felt strongly like dovetailed into the charge that you're already working on, I think the board would be super interested to kind of get your take on, if you thought that those were companion missions. So I guess I say which is to say,
It might not be Community Housing Board, it might be Community something else board, that
Yeah.
can kind of help support the community from,
well,
More facets
we
than-
do have a health and wellness committee.
oh, okay.
Yeah, so they do a lot of work. I know we're interviewing, there's like 7 people, I think they need 3 more. So that also might be an interesting.
Could be a
partnership.
collaborative.
Yeah, like a collaborative, and it's funny that one thing I had actually thought of potentially, for the School Street property was this, you could possibly do 2 things on it, you know what I mean? You could do a fit center with housing above, right? Like I think sometimes we think so linear, or you could do a senior center with an apartment above. So it doesn't have to be one or the other, it could be a collaboration.
Absolutely.
For that specific project, but for also for other things.
I also don't know if that might unlock other sources of funds that we can put in the financial model to help make
Exactly.
everything, work out in the end. It would be,
Sources of funds are,
I think it's, even with this project, I think it's going to depend on the funding
yeah,
that
Yes.
CDLI can get to sort of determine, who we're targeting. I think what we see in the community is that people need affordable rentals that are year-round and, stable.
Sure.
And that's like really the only goal we're trying to hit with this is to create more of that inventory on the island. And I think it's for anyone on the island. It could be for seniors. It could be for, young people. So I think it's,
And for seniors as well, and again, this will be discussed with CDLI, we're talking about single stories because seniors don't really want 2 stories. So it might only be limited to a couple of the properties that can't, so we'll have to, I think, pay special attention to that when we include the seniors. 'Cause
Yeah, for sure.
single level living is like,
I think one of the things we talked about with the South Ferry property especially was, I think in the beginning, we had kind of imagined it as 3 kind of cottage structures with like a bottom level and a top level, and having that bottom level be ADA compliant so that it would be suitable if you had a senior with mobility, so it would be like half of those would be suitable.
yeah, we'll work that all out.
Yeah, I mean,
during the
like.
design phase, just to keep it in mind.
Yeah, smart.
okay. Moving on. Community Housing Fund. Balance. We began at $1,511,054.70. This is listed as purchases in the document. I guess it means what we made.
Yeah, so that's like our share of
Right.
the tax revenue from purchases, which is
Right.
a confusing way to say it, but.
So we made $37,539. Our dividends were $4,706. So we end up this month, as of January 31st, I believe, at $1,553,371.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, it seems like 40 to 60 grand a month recently.
Yeah, I mean, if Peter were here, he would tell us exactly what was.
What was coming up?
He knows exactly what's close to home.
Yeah.
It's so helpful.
This is true.
The landlord renter posting board, I will skip because just table it for now. I did talk to the one person who's building an ADU who had expressed some interest in advertising it through us, and she just is kind of probably going to do it by word of mouth. She's like, oh, I have a bunch of people at the senior center that are interested, and as with most things, it's like there's enough demand out there that you can tell 2 people and it'll get snapped up. So that should be rented out in compliance, hopefully in the next month or so. So sounded like she didn't need to do it, and I think, yeah, we'll just have to work on that as we need it.
One question on going back, what time frame does this cover? Is that the month since our last
Yeah,
meeting?
it's a month,
1 month, okay.
1/1 to 1/31.
Okay.
But,
It's a couple months behind.
right,
Like we don't get, I want to say we're like 3 months behind, or 2 or 3 months behind on closing. So basically
it goes to the county.
it goes to
and
the
the town
county and
has
then
to
they
pay
distribute it
us.
to the town and then, you know what I mean? Like, so it's, it just takes a while to transfer. Peter would know exactly how far, it's either 2 or 3 months.
No, that's fine. It might help to put dates from
Yeah.
period
Sure.
X to Y.
Okay, so last week, I was invited to talk to the WQI, Water Quality Improvement Board, about IA systems. The WQI has 20% of the Community Preservation Fund to spend on water quality. Community Preservation Fund is the 2% real estate transfer tax. We have 0.5% of the real estate transfer tax. So that's how our fund is coming in. So they have an application of one of our ADU applicants, I guess. She hasn't started construction.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's in our list. And she already did the IA system. It gets incredibly complicated because they have all these dates that they constantly refer to. She did the IA system 2 years back or something, and now she is applying for the ADU so she can, have an ADU, have rental income. But they are not sure if they can give her the grant for it, because in the CPF legislation, in the WQI legislation, the current interpretation is that WQI funding cannot be spent on growth or, adding an extra bedroom.
Yeah.
But, we spent a long time talking about it and talking about what the ADU program was, how it worked, how it is and is not affordable, according, so they are also, I think it's the whole CPF committees of all 5 towns are getting together, because the legislation was rewritten in 2024 and
confusing.
everyone's confused by it. And I think they all need to come together so that they can determine, and all have each other's backs, if they can use some of this WQI money for things like this, or if it's totally,
So if I'm understanding correctly, they're basically saying that we'll give you the septic system, but you're not allowed to future-proof your property.
Yeah.
Therefore, if you build an ADU, you're going to have to expand or the system and pay for it, I guess, yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can do an IA system, but you're not going to get the WQI grant.
So did she receive the grant and
No.
now she wants to do an ADU?
No, she's applied for the grant and they're
One or
She's
the other.
commingling
Trying
the
to figure it
ADU and, yeah.
But that doesn't apply for the state and county level grants.
I think she's gotten those. Yeah,
It's the local ones.
Right,
Or
because of
this. It's just
CPF
local.
funds.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
And we,
And I think, I'm not sure if this is correct. I think it's an $11,000 refund, the WQI, and the Suffolk County and State is 30 grand. And I'm not, is there a town one also? Or is it that just the WQI?
that's the WQI
Okay.
one, yeah.
I don't know if this is off topic, but is there a world where someone could get the grant, do the water quality, and a couple of years down the line, apply and do the ADU?
No, so it's,
Or would that,
you could get the grant for your existing house. Say you've got a 3 or 4 bedroom, they put in a one size to meet 4 bedrooms. They would not pay for the 6-bedroom one. So that when you went around in 4 years,
and then had an
then
ADU?
that would trigger an
Another one.
expansion of
That's
the
it, yeah.
septic.
Got it,
So-
I got it.
Yeah. Now, then I don't even know if they ever got around the point of, because I was on the committee early on, and we talked about this, suppose somebody wants to do this, and they do want a future-proof, and they're willing to put in the money for a larger system, the difference. I don't know where it landed. I mean,
I think this is the same situation because this is a 1-bedroom house. The person who's applying is going to add 1 bedroom to the basement. It's not expanding the footprint of the house.
It's adding a bedroom.
But it's adding a
but
bedroom.
why doesn't her existing septic,
She already did the IA system.
right, but that would be there's no 1-bedroom septic.
It's a
4-bedroom.
4-bedroom
She
septic.
shouldn't need to expand it.
She
Exactly.
doesn't.
So then what, I mean, she got
She
the
just wants the
money,
grant.
but she got the grant already.
No, she didn't get the grant.
Oh, she
She did the
wants
work,
to
but she didn't get
retroactively have it covered, the work that's already been done. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's just they're so backed up that whenever she did thing,
Yeah,
a year to 2 years ago, was
Yeah.
before she's applying for the ADU.
right. I'm still confused.
I'm a little confused too.
So
But if she
what I
got
want
the
to do, she's got a
septic-
house, she got a septic system, she put it in.
Which has to be a 4-bedroom septic system.
Right.
So maybe if she didn't tell them about the ADU, they would have just approved it.
But it wouldn't matter if, well, but I mean, oh, so she was waiting for the grant to do the septic, but then went ahead and did it anyway? Or is the septic?
No, septic's done.
It is done. So then what are we
She was
even talking
assuming
about?
she was gonna get the money, right? Their
Because
backlog?
no, I think there's also like a limit. You can't add another bedroom to your house in that time frame. 3 years.
Oh, dear.
But if you have a septic system that covers a certain size, certain number of bedrooms, it doesn't matter if you start with one and you can get permits to build more, you don't need to upgrade the septic.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's,
That would be.
I think this is
I
the
need to put it in
clarification.
scratch.
Please clarification.
Exactly. So anyway, that's the update on that.
Question
Yeah.
about those 3 sites? So is the water quality and zoning, all of that is done? So CDLI can just move forward?
This crossed my mind earlier because it's going to be part of the contract negotiations and the finances and the models and all of that kind of stuff, which is like, we're going to need fresh surveys. We're going to need
So that hasn't happened.
GO. We're going to maybe potentially GO. We're going to need all sorts of stuff done. What has and hasn't been done on each lot, I don't know, honestly.
The town did surveys and they did well tests.
There was even
A lot of the stuff
environmental
goes
done at the
back.
highway department.
Yeah, a
wasn't
while back.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
the town worked with Matt Sherman on this stuff, and the 2 1-acre lots, we would be building within town code, like a 2-bedroom house and a 2-bedroom ADU,
As of right.
as of right.
As of right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The South Ferry thing gets a little complicated, but I believe we fixed this 9 months ago with the town, getting some sort of.
Variant, because that's for a 6-unit one, right?
Yeah, it would be,
we've got the ZBA clearance.
Okay.
That was like a whole, we spent like $50,000
Yeah.
getting that through.
so as long as we stick to that,
Yeah,
those, bedroom counts is what really matters, and the sanitary flow, then they're good to go.
So theoretically, South Ferry would be first to get done, rather than the 2 1-acres.
That, we don't know yet.
whatever that.
I think it's all
whatever that builder feels like.
Yeah, I think it's all happening at the same time.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, so just to throw another idea in our pipeline, if the WQI thing doesn't work, we have a fund, our community housing fund, and we have certain, we are up to 1.5 million. If we wanted to create a grant of our own to cover people's costs, to cover IA systems, and have it tied to creating an affordable unit, because right now the ADU program is not, the rental doesn't have to be affordable, it can be market rate.
I see.
But we could create some sort of system to give that grant in exchange for like a community housing license for the same time.
Right.
Could you explain that?
I love this thing.
It's good. I mean,
Yeah.
We've had this thing in the books, and this is part of our, the legislation that was written, 20 years ago. There's this thing called special community housing license. So it's essentially, we would give these people that. We would have to determine, there's a lot of things to kind of figure out.
But these are rentals. What are we giving them?
We're giving them this grant for the,
Build it, or
build the IA.
so, but in exchange for them renting it at affordable market rates,
Yeah,
instead of the anything goes rates that they
Right.
can do as it is now.
because some of the feedback I got from the WQI people was, oh, we didn't realize that this was at market rate. We thought it was community housing. I'm like, well, this is a state program. It's designed for one thing. It's designed to give people rental income and let them stay in their house
And increase
And
inventory.
and increase inventory. So there's aspects of these things that all mesh, but yes, it does, it's not specifically meant for people qualifying under a certain income, which if we determined we wanted, we could do. It's going to be some work to figure this all out, but it would be a way for us to say, we created 20 ADUs, 10 of them are, hitting this 60% or 80% AMI.
It seems like it falls almost more in a model of what was brought up a while ago, which is condoing, keeping a land lease and condoing these things and building a unit with an ADU for sale. They have to rent the ADU at, a reasonable rate to help.
Well, I mean, I think this could go
It seems like
forward.
more like a for sale model than it is for a rental model.
Maybe, yeah.
I think it could be for a rental model, right, where if you, I don't know if I'm tracking correctly, but if you get the water quality grant through the house, right? So like 11K, let's say that's what it's gonna cost. Then you have to rent out your ADU at X% AMI for 3 years, like whatever and for a certain amount of time, because 11, the delta's 11, right? And so like how much are they losing in rental income coming in?
Well, the ADUs are for 10 years full-time.
I know, but I'm just saying an overlay, it's not
Okay.
like tracking. This
Yes.
would be an overlay, a separate, you're going for this water quality upgrade for that's 11K.
Are we on the ADU?
I think we're on the
We're on
ADU.
the ADU side, or are we on the?
I thought we were-
I
Are we on-
So my understanding,
I thought we were talking about using the WQI to develop these properties.
no, I think we're looking at
I'm
it the other way.
saying like, if the WQI doesn't work,
Yeah.
we could do, or even if it does work, I think we could also do this as well.
So may I interject here? So I think the issue is that some of these ADU grants that the state is giving out, the projects are being held up because there is the requirement to expand the septic or improve the septic systems.
So it's tangled up with the WQI.
But it's not necessarily because they can't fund that. So what Brian was talking about, and correct me if I'm wrong, is potentially using, well, let me step back. Those state grants aren't tied to any kind of affordability in those ADUs, only that they be full-time rentals for 10 years.
Yep.
I think what Brian was suggesting or discussing was taking some funds from our, account and applying them or offering them to make these septic upgrades, make the grants to make those possible in exchange for making those not just 10-year rentals, but also 5 years worth of affordable, and then after that, or something,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Okay.
So that it's our funds going to support these ADUs and to sort of like grease the wheels of this to get it going.
And not just IA systems, that could be part of
Could
it,
be
if
anything,
that's what you
right?
need it for. If you just need the extra 25 grand to make it actually
Interesting,
happen,
yeah.
like our
because you're gonna
provision.
lose that in the rent. So we're gonna make it up for you to make it happen.
Got it. Okay.
Or you're not going to get the project done to begin with. or-
Amber, I see you
Okay.
have a question.
Yeah, not so much a question. Benjamin jumped off, which means
Oh.
that I can jump in because now I'm not creating a quorum. If you want to go back to the WQI slide, I can give you a little bit more information about that. Just
Sure.
because I am the liaison to that board. So the grants that are available, just to get those numbers correct, is $12,000 for just a basic IA system. And then if you need to do a well relocation, there's an additional $5,000. And if you want to do a shallow leaching system, it's another $4,000. So it's up
okay.
to 21,000 in total. The issue with the one ADU program person is that it's a 3-year look forward. So if you put in an IA system, you can't do any addition for 5 years or 3 years, I'm sorry. So the person, if she had put it in like 3 years ago and then wanted to do an ADU, she'd be okay. What she's running up against right now, and I'd like to take a look at the law at some point, is you can't, in her case, because it's a 1-bedroom and she's adding a 1-bedroom ADU, she's not requesting a bigger system. And I feel like that's not making room for growth. And I wish that our wording in our law and our guidance was a
Yeah.
little different to say, since she's not requiring a bigger system, it's not triggering growth because she fits within a 4-bedroom system. So we
Right.
have a little bit of work there. And there's also a percentage, like if you do more than 25% increase in your square footage, then that also means that you don't qualify. So there's a little bit of work there. And then just getting back to what constitutes growth and that your bottom line there, the CPF decision for all 5 towns, is when we get this CPF advisory committee pulled together, I want to ask that committee to really look at what constitutes growth. Because if you have a piece of vacant land and you put a house on it, that could be growth. But then other people have looked at it and said, well, maybe it's not growth because you're not subdividing. So if you had to subdivide the land, that's creating new growth within your town. But if you have a buildable lot, that's not really considered growth. You're just finally putting a house on it. So in the
Yeah.
future, maybe by the end of the summer, we can start to get a answer to that question. But so I think there's 2 ways that we could try and maybe utilize WQI grant money for these IA systems. One is getting that growth question answered at the larger 5-town level, and then the other just looking more closely at whether or not we can change the trigger for when our grants don't qualify.
Gotcha. But back to the specific case, because she did it just a year ago, she can still do the ADU program. She just wouldn't qualify for the WQI because they
Right
don't,
now, it's considered.
it's in the 3 years.
Yes, but she's still eligible for the county and the state grants.
Right, yeah. I think she already got them.
Yes,
too, she said.
yes.
Great, thanks.
Interesting, okay.
Okay.
Okay, so anyway, that's my idea for our own grant. And this thing on the side is from our community housing plan. Looking back at it, we really gave ourselves the room to provide our own grants or low interest loans for the creation of new ADUs. We did then apply for the ADU +1 grant program, which is state money, which is great. It didn't come with the specific, needs to be affordable rental part of it. So if this is something we think we want to do for ADUs, I think it might be an interesting.
There's also enforcement and all of this other kind
Yeah.
of stuff that needs to be.
I know. Yep, we might have to either rely, and just administering and, giving out the grants or whatever they are.
Mhm.
So lots to think about. I just wanted to get it off my chest. Okay. Okay, oh my gosh, we're over time, Mark.
Liz, can you take over?
In all the best ways, though. In all the best ways.
We had a lot to get through today.
You just got to go.
Doing great.
Um,
There's a slideshow.
This is fun.
Slideshow. I can never do a slideshow.
Ongoing thing is that in the background is happening is this housing needs assessment.
I have something I need to tell you about it.
Yeah.
I got pulled over by Barbara Bloom today. She's just like, because we have a grant for this.
Right.
She's all, you guys gotta spend it.
Yes, I wanted to ask you,
Yeah,
when do we need to spend it by?
like tomorrow, yesterday,
okay.
something like that. So
So we-
basically, she was just saying, obviously you don't have to spend it, but they need like a contract and like an invoice, like it's like we wait forever and then they're like desperate to give out the money. So
Sure.
I don't know where you guys are with deciding what you're doing. But, I don't know where you guys are with deciding what you're doing. But, I don't know where you guys are with deciding what you're doing. But, I don't know where you guys are with deciding what you're doing. But, I don't know where you guys are with deciding what you're doing. But, I don't know where you guys are with deciding what you're doing. But, I don't know where you guys are with deciding what you're doing. But, I don't know where you guys are with deciding what you're doing. But, I don't know where you guys are with deciding what you're doing. But, I don't know where you guys are with deciding what you're doing. But, I don't know where you guys are with deciding what you're doing. But, I don't know where you guys are with deciding what you're doing. But, I don't know where you guys are with deciding what you're doing. But, I don't know where you guys are with deciding what you're doing. But, I don't know where you guys are with deciding what you're doing. But, I don't know where you guys are with deciding what you're doing. But, I don't know where you guys are with deciding what you're doing. But, I don't know where you guys are with decid
Yes.
It's.
Not sure we are either.
I'm not sure we are either, but we
It's time
do.
now. Yeah, it's,
This is sort of the RFP light that we had put out, and we got a few responses back. Some of them were negative. So we really have one candidate at this point, who we worked with on the other one. And they have a couple options for us. So yeah, that might be something I rope you in on to think about and talk about, Nadine.
Happy to do that.
And
Get in touch with?
yeah,
Okay. I have no idea.
yeah, I talked to Thad. What's his firm?
Kowalski, his.
Public
Public.
Partners or something. He was very nice, and yeah, he had some good ideas, which I loved. So he didn't send me anything back, but I'm kind of waiting on some response from him, but I can follow up.
I could.
Yeah, no worries. God, I got two more things to talk about too. So, yeah. This discussion came up in the town board meeting the other day, the ADU property tax assumption. So this is something the town is considering. And I think I answered this question, but the only question I had was, this would be for all ADUs,
that's my understanding.
not just anything done under the +1 program or,
Yeah, this is
So-
for everything, isn't it just, it's rented year round, Amber, is that correct?
I think
Am I
so.
making that up?
Yes, that's what we're putting in. It's not a
Yeah.
requirement by the state, but we would like to have
Yeah.
that as a requirement.
So like ADUs rented year round. So,
So the exemption, if I'm reading this correctly, your appraisal's going to go up by no more than $200,000.
yeah, that's the limit.
exactly, and then like, it's like this weird, I can't read it from here because I'm blind as that.
100% for 5 years, and
Yeah,
then it
and
goes
it's like
down.
down 25%, and then it's like 5%, like, then it's like 15%. It's like a weird descending balance, but like,
The
sure.
water falls down.
Yeah, exactly.
I think, according to the thing, though, it lasts at 5% for an additional 5 years.
No, so it gets like we're actually probably gonna rewrite the language.
Okay.
Because we were like, what? At the end of 10 years, you're done.
Okay,
You're done. So it's like weirdly 5% at the end. Why, we don't know why it's 5% dollars. Anyway,
so,
but there's an exemption. And the first 5 years are great, and hopefully that'll be helpful.
yeah, I think, exactly. This is
Right.
like another little carrot for people to create ADUs. Eventually, the town will, the concern is that, the town is going to be losing money on this forever. Eventually, that will be made whole, and there's a public,
Is there a model of this that includes affordable rentals where they can maximize their tax benefit based on maintaining it at affordable rate?
that could be something to consider.
Yeah, I was gonna say, they're getting a tax exemption and not necessarily renting out the ADU for.
They're getting, this is at market,
Right, exactly,
and
so,
they're getting this
Yeah.
cascading tax benefit, but if they are at affordable, can they get it? Is there a tax
think
incentive for them
A shallower ramp
So
down.
here's the thing is.
or none at all, so long as they maintain it?
Amber and I would have to take a look at this. So this rolled down
From the state,
from
right?
the state. So I think there's limited tweaks that we can do to it. So Amber, we'll have to look at what's even,
It's,
Laws.
yeah, that's,
I
yeah,
think
that
that
wouldn't, yeah,
there's like
that's not
the-
allowed. It's not written
Yeah.
in under, the
Yeah.
overriding legislation from the state.
Amber snuck in the rented year round bit. So.
Yeah, we can make it more restrictive. We can't make it more beneficial.
We can't make it work. We can't expand it.
Maybe next year.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, could
Go
it
ahead.
be restricted so that you only get the tax exemption if
Yeah.
it's for affordable rentals?
Or you get less of it?
I think we could. However, if you were to apply, and it's only for the town taxes, so if you were to apply this at this year's tax rate for the full 10 years, the total benefit in saved taxes is $2,420. So it's, $242 on average a year, obviously more front-loaded and decreases. So is that enough to require somebody to have lower their rent into an affordable, a more affordable bracket?
And
So-
then this, I think, ties into,
Is the carrot big enough?
Right.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts, because we also were having discussions about, seniors that want to move out of their homes into something more affordable, and then what do we do with their home? Is there any sort of way to do, is there a conversion process on that end? Or people that might want to move their parents into their ADU so they can get out of their house? We're getting narrower and narrower, sort of
Yeah.
subset here, but like, are there benefits for them? Like how, there's a lot of ways to kind of slice and dice this up that everybody gets the maximum benefit out of, what we can provide and their quality of life and everything, really.
How much is the town losing by getting these properties getting a tax exemption?
I think we have the assessors doing the math, so I don't know if Judith sent that to you, but I don't think we know yet. We had that brought up in
Good question.
I imagine that's gonna be,
This is,
But it's only the first $200,000 of the
it's
increase
also
in property
new
value, too.
ADUs. It's not like,
yeah.
So-
Yeah, it's for new.
how many are done every year?
Yeah.
20, 30, maybe?
It's still a ding, though, that can move the needle enough for some people to not go, I mean, it's.
Yeah, I mean, I think every little, it's like every little bit helps, there's like a little bit of this, and then there's like some help with the IA, and then there's a bit, you patchwork
Or
that
an
together.
EMP or a volunteer or, there's
Yeah,
any number of criteria that would be worth exploring.
So just wanted to bring this up to you guys. There is a public hearing in 2 weeks or so on this. But I think it's great. I mean, if it's gonna increase the inventory of housing, that's one of our goals. Okay, last item for me is, just wanted to bring this up to you. I attended a talk from Steve Rosenberg from this group a couple months back, and I know I mentioned it to you. They have that little blue thing that says January, February 26th, a webinar that's coming up. I don't think it's been announced yet, because I think I'm on the mailing list and haven't heard. But it's called Cluster Development, Housing That Fits Our Towns. And I watched their old one, which is called Community Planning for a High Quality of Life. This is towns like Rosendale and Rhinebeck, and some upstate. It's all Hudson Valley people, but they were talking about sort of planning community events and what was working, and I thought they had some really good insights. So I definitely recommend taking a look at that webinar, and if this other one happens, if you can make it, I'll let you know. I'll let you know if I hear when it actually is.
Okay.
But this is a group that is bringing together housing groups and conservation and environmental groups so that they're working together and not at odds. And they've managed to do some pretty impressive projects so far. So, that's the end of my thing. Gotta get my mouse back. We have any old business to talk about? Any new business? Anybody else?
I think we brought everything up, old and new.
for
Yeah.
answering all the questions.
Yeah, and there'll be a lot more, and
I think it doesn't have to be part of this, but if we could have 5-10 minutes to converse, just so, I mean, we're this mighty toolbox that's being put together, and it's nice to know what all the tools do and are capable of, and
Yeah,
because I know you guys are fresh to this scene. And I'll introduce myself. We can all introduce ourselves to each other, but it doesn't have to be online.
yeah. Speaking of, is anybody,
Well, in that case, I
oh
move
wait,
to.
we have anybody online? Julie, do you have any questions?
I'm okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
And everyone else is from us, so
Yeah.
Then in that case, I move to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor? All right, let's close it down. Bye.
Bye, Amber.
Thanks, Amber. Thank you.